Catherine is, she's almost like a female Utah in the sense of motivated and willful and wants it to happen.
Women oftentimes do macho guy movies a lot better than guys do because they have the ability to stand back. And when they don't pass judgment and bring a deeper level of truth to it, wonderful things can happen.
They're better with details. Women are. They just have that over men. That's just the way it is.
There's too much testosterone here.
It was really thrilling working with Catherine, who's this really dynamic, very individuated woman who had a vision of what she wanted the film to be.
She did a fabulous job, and she's, you know, the movie is all to her credit. Her vision really came true.
People think that it's softer because of Catherine, because she's a female, and that's not the truth at all. She was so in love with the action. When there was a scene with me and Keanu, who were just supposed to be kissing on the beach, she was like, oh God, whatever, just get over it, get on with it. You know, she's a wonderful director, but it was funny. She loves action a lot more than just being, you know, still.
The fact that Catherine directed it makes it infinitely more interesting. I mean, she made a foot chase as exciting as a car chase.
The beauty of that sequence really is its simplicity. It's not complicated, but you get the sort of visceral part of it because you got somebody running around with a camera right behind them.
We used, you know, a pogo cam, which is just basically a camera, you know, on a pole, which gives you a much more live feeling. It's not so smooth, and you can actually put the camera through windows and throw it over walls, and you can do things with it because it's not really attached to you.
I would run behind with the camera. I'd run looking back at Keanu. I'd run in front of them and see both of them running. I'd run behind them and see them running.
The foot chase, fortunately for me, Patrick was in Europe promoting Ghost while we did it. He was an amazing athlete, so to be able to perform to his level, I had to have it together.
Patrick wanted to do everything himself, and then when he saw the film afterwards, he went, that was great. I'm glad I didn't do it.
Rock and roll. You know, the stuff where we're wearing masks and running around, it was hot, you know, and we're wearing this mask, you can't see. I'm like, can you even see who's doing this? You know, I think somebody was telling me, and I'd be like, you look just like me in that suit and mask, man. Do you want to do that? And they're like, yeah, because they love it. They're like, give it to me, bring it on, work. I'm like, go for it.
Sorry, Johnny. Looks like you don't get to be president.
I doubled Keanu where he tackled one of the punk rockers out a window. Glenn had picked a location where he had a window and no tree in front of the window, so we thought we'd do it, you know, right in front of this great window, so you see our bodies come out. And then the director had a different thought, let's do it where you can't see the window and there's a tree there. It's just a unique way of shooting a fight sequence that I wasn't used to. You usually go wide and then you go tight. This seemed to be tight, 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 and it looked really intense and really violent.
Catherine said, is it possible for the actors to do their own fights? So I set up weekends where I had everybody that was supposed to be involved in it, including Gary Busey and everybody, to come to a location, and we worked out, and I taught them how to do fights from the ground up, how to move, why you're doing it, what's happening, where's the camera. But I said, if you don't come and practice, I can't use you. And they all pitched in and worked very hard, except for one, Anthony of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
That would be a waste of time.
I guess he was singing around and everything else. So, of course, the first punch, he was out. And he didn't like that at all. But from then on, I had no trouble with him. And he was out there working with us all the time.
This was a fun movie to make because everything we did hadn't been done before.
You're gonna jump or jerk off. That's my man.
We came up with a skydiving rig with these kind of telescoping arm cranes, and they built a body thing with a post coming out of the center of it where you laid in that and strapped yourself in and then put your clothes on over it.
So by putting everyone on their own crane, allowing people to move independently of each other and go out of frame, come down, it makes you feel like you're actually there.
But the secret was to also float the camera, have it on a unit, and float it. And we had it so we could turn and oscillate, and it worked out very well.
Great, isn't it? You're doing good.
You can't talk in free fall. You got 120 to 200 mile an hour winds, which is nothing but a giant roar. So there is a little bit of poetic license taken with us having a conversation. You pull it. No, you pull it. You're gonna die, man. Pull it.
Do it or you're gonna die, Johnny! 6 seconds! It's gonna be meat waffles!
Patrick started jumping on his own. And he used to come in and say, oh, look, Peter, look what I did this weekend. And I would say, no, you can't do that, you know, insurance. Anyway, ultimately, we agreed that if he would stop jumping while we were filming, he could actually jump out of the plane after everything was done, which is what he did.
Adios, amigo!
And it's one of the great shots in the movie because he falls out of the plane and you're waiting for the cut, and it never happened.
Amazing! Fucking amazing!
It's very funny because I had to battle insurance companies to get to do the skydiving in the movie. And I never came close to dying once. But they never said one word about me getting my brains pounded in by the biggest surfer on this planet. And I almost died 6 to 10 times. I thought I was out of here. I had this bone on my sternum that I injured being on much bigger waves than I had any business being on. So we had to groove out my surfboards, build up my wetsuits to try to get me off that bone. But of course, it's not possible. Every time you turtle through a wave, it just slams you. All I cared about was getting good enough to where when they cut from me to my big wave double, that I wouldn't look like Bobby Darin on a soundstage in a 50s Beach Bunny movie.
Technologically, you can now have a surfing double and remove the double's face and put in your actor's face because of computers. We couldn't do that 15 years ago. We couldn't even create the rain that occurs in the final sequence.
Look at it! This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, man. Just let me go out there. Let me get one wave before you take me. One wave.
We had hired Derek Dorner, who's a very famous longboard surfer and is a lifeguard at Sunset Beach, to double Patrick in case Waimea ever broke.
Waimea at that time had the largest break in the world. We were very fortunate to be there the 2 days that Waimea broke, which is very rare.
Waimea hadn't broken in almost 2 years.
It was a pretty tall wave, and I don't think anybody ever fallen off a wave like that on purpose.
Derek would say, I want the 4th wave in this set coming up, and then our guys would block these people from all over the world who were obviously not particularly happy about being told they couldn't get on a wave.
Too bad. Finally get your waves and it's totally closed out.
Well, it was hard for him because he spent his whole life surfing these big waves trying to stay on his board, and we were paying him to fall off these waves, which are massive and very dangerous.
I'm sure he got banged up pretty good. I'm sure he was sore, put it that way.
We reshot the end of the movie, not him falling off the wave, but the scene preceding it. We did a big reshoot up in Oregon 6 months later. Keanu had gone off and done, I think, Bill and Ted in between, and had grown his hair. And Patrick, in the meantime, had gone off to do a movie in India and cut his hair.
Do something, brah!
But it works for the story in the sense that the Bodhi character is trying to hide, so he's sort of changed his look. And Keanu has gotten disillusioned with the FBI, so he's becoming a little bit more of a rebel.
I think this movie changed everyone involved with it in some way for the better.
I had a blast from the beginning to the end of the movie.
We had so much fun doing that stuff. Skydiving and robbing banks and surfing. So much fun.
I think the film holds up really well because the surfing phenomenon has become just that. It's just exploded.
It was a real party, adrenaline, cultural phenomenon at that time, and it seems to be timeless.
Point Break, it still is in my heart. It still is in my heart. It still is a wonderful experience. When it comes on, I watch it and laugh at places that I know what happened that nobody does, because I was there.
For me and Busey and Keanu and Laurie and all my guys in the gang, something special happens, you know, and he just jumps off the screen, and I live for that.